This is Vicki Robinson. I'm getting ready to put these mixed media transparent overlays in my shop, and working on the preview occurred to me that it may look a little intimidating, and maybe you're wondering how you would use these overlays. So I made up some backgrounds really quick using the overlays. I think I did, there's 14 of these, and I did these in just a matter of minutes. And I was able to do it so quickly because I was using one of my favorite tricks for creating backgrounds, and that's what I wanted to share with you. I make scanned copies of all of my mixed media backgrounds, so I had a lot of those to start with, and I also save as separate copies any papers I do make in my kit that I fall in love with. A lot of times must happen to you too. You make a paper that's just beautiful and it's really a shame just to use that paper once. Well, I'll put those off into a paper making folder, and then I turn my background scans and my favorite papers into patterns, and I apply those patterns to these transparent overlays. That's one really good trick, by the way, for extending a set of backgrounds or papers for a kit, is by taking some of your busier papers that you're providing and then providing some less busier papers with those same background papers you already made by using them as patterns. So let me show you what I mean here. Actually, this is one of the overlays that come with this kit, and this is one of my vintage ephemera overlays. Don't forget that you can rearrange the layers. Try that. Try colorizing them. That's all I did in this case, is I just colorized the text, the vintage ephemera overlay, to sort of go in line with the colors that were in this mixed media background. This pattern overlay, don't forget that you can move the pattern around to see where you like it. If there is part of the colors that appeal to you more than others, that's even better than I had it. Can completely change the effect of a pattern. You can do some scaling of these patterns, but of your background papers, but unless you go to the trouble to make them repeating, you're going to end up with some funny lines. So I really don't recommend doing that, although I have done it in one or two instances. So you could see, kind of end up with kind of a cool paper. I'm just using just two overlays on some watercolor paper. Yep, I did the same thing on this one. This is a map overlay. I'm getting ready to release some map overlays. I think I have one map overlay product in the shop already. This is another one I'm going to add again. I've just colorized it to go with the papers that I was making. And here's another one of those vintage ephemera page overlays. And here's yet another one of those. And notice here that I've just masked away areas of the overlay that were maybe too much for me when I was working with this paper. So here's one of the overlays applied, and here's another one. And in this case, I think I used maybe the same background paper, or maybe they were different papers. See what happens if we change the overlay here to, yep, that was one of my watercolor backgrounds. So you can see you can actually get a whole variety of different effects just by applying your different papers. I mean, I just think this is a really cool trick, and it actually saves me a lot of time as I'm working through my kits. Did I show you this one yet? No, this one is just two. This is that same, I know it looks floral, it really wasn't. It kind of ends up looking floral by the time I was done with it. But it's an edge, it's just one of the edges, and I turned it on its side. And then I've also added one of my watercolor overlays, transparent overlays. That's what it looks like before I applied the pattern, and that's what it looks like afterwards. So you can see I'm really getting a lot of variety out of these, even though they may appear to be a little bit intimidating. Here I actually even push the envelope a lot. In addition to that same one, I think I'm really liking that same one, don't you? I applied one of my mixed media backgrounds to this, and then I think I've applied the same one, but I've got a set of, I think it's Art Paper Overlays 22. They're very inky and black and sort of in your face, but you can see by applying this pattern, I've sort of toned down the whole thing. And here it is. I think this is the same one, and I've just switched it up and transformed it, just rotated it a couple times. So you can play with these and come up with something that really fits the look that you're trying to go for. Anyway, you get the idea. That's how I intend for these overlays to be used, mixing and matching them with other overlays, and in particular, not just colorizing them, but attaching pattern overlays of your own papers to the product so that you have much more variety in your backgrounds. Thanks for watching.